With the 2,000-gallon aquarium now having a freshwater stingray added to it, stocking adjusted for the betterment of the tank, as well as the outside and inside getting an upgraded look, I couldn't stop thinking about the large tree we removed and the ideas that I had for it. This is the miniature 2,000-gallon aquarium. Not just similar in appearance, but the stocking is what's going to make it exciting.
Now this aquarium has me really excited, not just because the whole structure stands over 6 feet tall. Not only does it blend incredibly well into the 2,000-gallon aquarium, complementing it, almost acting as if it's some sort of annex or a miniature version of what's in there. However, it blends incredibly beautiful into this section of the aquarium gallery. One of the things I'm most excited about, though, are the sheer dimensions of this aquarium. We've had it for quite some time now. It's called a 50-gallon lowboy. It's 4 feet long, 24 inches side to side or front to back, but only stands 10 inches tall. And if you do the math and multiply the length by width by inches and you divide that by 231, which is how many cubic inches are in a gallon, we get exactly 49.87 gallons. Now this is your classic type of glass aquarium though, and it has a bottom lip, which can explain me only supporting the outside parameter and not the bottom of it. All that pressure is on the 4 corners. But that lip comes up by about 1/2 inch. We've got another about 1 inch here. Water level's down by about 1/2 inch. We're losing a couple inches right there. And because of that, this isn't a 50-gallon tank anymore. It's actually, if we do the real inside dimensions, including where the water height really is, we're working with about 37 gallons. So we need to stock this appropriately for the gallons it actually holds, as well as filter it properly as well, which brings us to filtration. For the time being, I've only added on a Fluval 107, rated for about 30 gallons in size. And while technically not big enough for this aquarium in terms of what it's rated for, I'd like something at least double that size. It's cycled and it's good for now, especially given the stocking that we're going to consider. I did add a bit more circulation in the aquarium because we're not getting a tremendous amount of flow out of this small canister filter, and it's working more so as a water polisher as well. So I added in a MaxiJet power head that's pumping the water around, helping the flow of the tank, not only circulating the water and the temperature, ensuring there's no cold spots or hot spots, but also aiding in gas exchange at the surface, which is incredibly interesting because even though this is only 37 gallons in size, we also have to consider the dimensions of this tank, which we're going to cover later. We're not only going to consider how many gallons of water is holding, but the dimensions of the tank simply due to stocking. You'll also notice that it's got an open top. Very cool to look down into. So when we consider the gallons, we consider the size, we also have to consider this is technically a top-down tank. It's waist height, we look down on it, we want to be able to see fish that actually look good from above. And I have some ideas. But first, let's look at the stand and how it was constructed. Obviously, these are concrete or cinder blocks. 16 inches long, 8 inches tall, and these ones are actually only 6 inches wide. On top of the cinder blocks, I needed to place some 2x6s. I placed these here so that all 4 corners of the aquarium, and because it's made of glass, are all touching, but being level isn't a massive concern. Tanks can be unlevel, but if all 4 corners aren't perfectly touching, that can cause twisting in the tank. And when it comes to a glass aquarium, you have a minor amount of flexibility, but with too much flexibility, you can split a seam, crack the bottom pane, etc. Now these blocks being 8 inches tall, we have 3 of them here, that's 24 inches in height. Then we have a 2 by 6, but like I said, they're only like 1.5 inches. Gives us 25.5 inches. Add in the tank, we're now at 35.5 inches in total height. Let's call it 36, which is usually how tall stands are before you put on a tank. Usually 28 to 38, 36 inches tall, and then you put a tank on it. So this, in my opinion, is an incredibly interesting height. As I look down, I chose a fine grain sand that's like a brownish beige in coloration. I didn't want to go too bright, I didn't want to go too dark. Reason being is because depending on the fish, we need them to contrast so they look absolutely amazing looking down on them. And beige, brownish is probably the best color to go with. Underneath is what is exciting as well. I placed these concrete blocks in a way that not only are we supporting all 4 corners equally, but we leave a space in between that's approximately 37 inches wide, 18 inches front to back, and 24 inches tall. Do you know what fits perfectly in there? A 40-gallon breeder. Sliding that in was like a glove. Absolutely perfect, and we still have around 6 inches of space above so we can lift the lids, get our arms in there easily, all the way to the bottom. Absolutely no problems at all. But what we'll do here is equally as exciting as what we're going to do here. Now, let's move on to stocking. Before we do that, though, we should probably talk about the placement of this tank. You'll notice that it's several inches away from the 2000. This was to accommodate the 3D background. It was also to allow this leaning tree to kind of lean over the 2000, maybe one of the logs come out, but most importantly, get the filtration behind it. Does it take away from the viewing area on this side of the 2000? The short answer is absolutely not at all. As between this aquarium and the 375-gallon piranha tank, I can stand 7-8 feet back and see perfectly because this is not obstructing my view. I can stand all the way back here because this isn't obstructing my view because we placed it low. Is it annoying to walk between here? Well, there's almost 3.5-4 feet as there is right here. Coming over to the side here, it's the same idea. I've got about 4 feet. This bench got to go and the stuff on it is just there for right now. But it obstructs nothing. It's absolutely perfect. And because it's just me out here, it's not like I do tours or I have a bunch of company all the time. My only friends are you guys and my wife and my kids. But technically, I'm the only one ever out here. So I don't mind having this amount of space. And I guess the more tanks, the merrier. But I just want to make them really cool. And that's where we have to talk about the stocking. But I want to start with the bottom tank. What are my plans for this? I'm going to incorporate another large canister filter onto this one and or perhaps maybe something internal. I'm also thinking about connecting the two, meaning water drains from the top aquarium into this one and then pumps back up into this one. As for lighting for this tank, I don't plan to do any lights. I don't want anything hanging and it's weird to light, and I'd rather just ambient light, especially these lights above it and room lights, etc. It looks really good. This one, I'm thinking a carpet of plants, and then maybe I could do just shrimp or guppies or something like that. I don't know. This one here, I just want to have a carpet of probably dwarf hair grass. There's a cubby in the back for me to hide a large CO2 tank like this, or maybe I could just toss it into the side there with the canister filter and go from there. With enough flow and all that amount of plants, I'm not so sure I'd even need filtration on it. But it is 40 gallons, it's 36 inches long, it's 18 inches front to back. I believe these are 17 inches tall. I guess I have about 7 inches right here. Okay, that's a fun tank because it'll just be this glowing green tank coming from below. But what do we do up here? Well, I think we can all agree that this is like a miniature version of the 2000. They look kind of the same. It's got the moss, these vines, similar in sand, obviously not the same structure. But the first thing I want to consider is how many gallons does this actually hold? And if I don't connect the two, let's call it 35 gallons, which you would think would dwindle our choices of stocking. But that's where the dimensions of the tank come into play. You see, when it comes to gallons, we have to focus on dilution. A lot of the times people will say how many gallons per fish or inch, and nobody talks about dimensions. So when somebody asks me, Joey, can I keep 5 piranha in a 50-gallon tank? The first thing I say is, what are the dimensions? Not all tanks are the same dimensions in terms of gallons, but most importantly, a 50-gallon tank, or even let's call it 55, is 4 feet long by 12 inches front to back. We're just going to focus on the surface area right now. That surface area is about 4 square feet. This, being 4 feet long by 2 feet wide, has a surface area that's actually 8 square feet, meaning that we have more ability for gas exchange at the surface, meaning more carbon dioxide can gas off, allowing more oxygen to replace it. The translation to that is also simple. The more oxygen content that we have in the aquarium, the more life and fish it can actually support. Our limiting factor is, of course, going to be dilution. So technically, we can stock this tank a little higher than a normal 50-gallon. However, the biggest limiting factor is depth of the tank. Only about 7 inches of water. I mean, we can't stock this like a 120 and toss in an Oscar or something like that because it would just jump out. Because not only is it shallow, it's also an open top tank. So here's what I'm thinking for fish. I know fish that are the miniature versions of the Asian arowana that would perfectly and easily go in a 50-gallon tank or 35-gallon aquarium. I know fish that are the miniature versions of Geophagus. Don't even get close to that size. I know fish that are the miniature versions of freshwater stingrays. Should I mimic the stocking of the 2000 in this mini 2000 so that you guys can do it at home as well, or just get to learn about these types of fish and we've never had them in the gallery? Or I'm thinking maybe a really cute chubby goldfish, just one. I don't know. I know what you guys want, but you're gonna have to let me know in the comment section below. If you want me to mimic what's in there, it's gonna take me a little while to source these fish, get a hold of them. I might even quarantine them below so we can get them, look at them, get you guys excited, and then one day add them, and or because this is a standalone tank, we can add them all at once. The next thing I have to do is put some substrate in here, get a proper light on there, find a ton of dwarf hairgrass, and get that tank up and running. I want to do the dwarf hairgrass carpet for a simple reason. I was going to do it over here, but I went with something totally different, and I'm super glad that I did in a 4-foot tank. That one's planted as well, and I'll show you guys that one in the next video. But if you're excited for this, you're not subscribed already, make sure you do, or you're not going to get notified. And if you are subscribed, hit the notification bell because my notifications aren't going out. See you in the next video.